So, welcome back to the Web3 Insights, where we explore people and protocols shaping the future. Today, I'm joined by Victor Vernissage, who is the co-founder of Humanode, which is a protocol pioneering biometric identity and building a chain where one human equals one node. So, we're going to be talking Sybil-Resistance, decentralized governance, DAOs, NFTs, and the future intersection of AI and identities. Let's dive straight in. Victor, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you, Aaron.
Victor, can you tell us a bit about your background? Also keen to understand what led you to co-found Humanode as well.
Well, I've been an economist at heart since I was like 12. That's the earliest probably memories I have in my life. Well, I went into international relations university, worked on a few traditional IT startups, as we call them now after crypto is here.
Yeah.
And yeah, but I think that I was already full-time crypto 2016. I was astonished by the concept. I would even say that the full understanding, well, somewhat understanding of crypto, even somewhat healed my slight depression just instantly. And eventually, well, we ended up investing little by little, researching a lot, you know. Then we started our media, we called Paradigm, back in 16, 17, where we published really huge reports on any company we wanted to dig into, like 50 pages ones. And well, unfortunately or fortunately, we couldn't stop building. It's really hard to stop launching startups until you die. And started one of the first proof of stake applications. Basically allows you to stake your assets. Right now it sounds very easy, it's everywhere, but back then you had to use the command line and basically set up infrastructure on your own. And when we were deep into proof of stake market, we actually found out how it works, how the governance works there. So it may look decentralized because you have all these consensuses, all these systems which are permissionless because anyone can join. But eventually it all comes down to how much power you have, depending on how much tokens you bought. Or in terms of mining, is just how many miners use your mining pool.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not really decentralized. We were sitting in a closed chats of 20, 30 people, which represented 15 companies. And it takes even less to decide on how which update is going to be approved or not, how the treasury will be spent, and all that stuff. So while crypto technology is decentralized, it's open source, anybody can use it, the infrastructure of crypto will never be decentralized unless we move from proof of work and proof of stake.
Yeah.
Well, in the world we live in, in the dollar system we live in, the euro dollar system we live in, it's more decentralized than crypto.
What problem specifically is Humanode fundamentally trying to solve?
Well, that's the problem of decentralization. That's it. The decentralization on the basic level of crypto, which is layer one.
Mm-hmm.
You can decentralize your DAO, making your DAO, which is a set of smart contracts, for example, democratic. Yeah. But it still runs on proof of stake, right? And the biggest validators, if they collude, how you organize your DAO on top of these layer ones will have no meaning.
Yeah. Let's talk about the biometrics identity. How does Humanode use secure biometric verification to enforce the one human, one node principle?
So we use facial recognition. We, of course, at the beginning thought about that we could use other modalities, but they would require specialized hardware. Not everybody can buy specialized hardware, and it's hard to distribute it throughout the world. And facial recognition is the most accessible and accurate among the accessible ones from any device. All you need is like 3 megapixel camera to scan your face. But compared to like regular biometric things you do with KYC providers, right? We encrypt it all for now using confidential virtual machines, which is kind of a trusted execution environment, basically a server with encrypted memory. And yeah, when the server is launched, it rotates the key inside it so that even we who launch the server don't know the information inside. And eventually, the actual information that is stored is just the 3D representation of your face, which doesn't even look like your face, which looks like just anonymized sphere, let's say, but we still encrypt it. And that's the data the system uses to compare faces one to another to figure out if the person is unique, right?
Yeah.
And there is another part of biometrics. I know that encrypted people don't know much about biometrics. When you scan your face with your KYC provider, right, it compares your face to your passport. This operation is not very accurate because our photos on the passport, they're old, they're very, very small. And eventually, KYC providers have to have people who have to actually look at your face and compare if the algorithm didn't work. And it happens all the time.
Yeah,
So
sure.
in our case, we don't need it because we can take high quality 3D representation of the face. And at the same time, we can check whether you are a real human being right now in front of the camera, which is a set of 60 modules called liveness detection. Find out how the light falls on your face, how it bends in the 3 dimensions, to check out if you're not a Madame Tussauds Wask figure or anything that's below that in quality.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, my passport photo, I used to have hair, so.
Well, it's okay. I basically I'm with beard and without beard every second month, and
Yeah.
biometrics work fine with it.
Awesome, awesome. You've also written extensively about cyber attacks. What are the real world implications of cyber resistance in Web3 governance?
You mean real world or Web3?
Both, I suppose.
Both. Well, a lot. I would say that this is the market that we're just starting to develop. There is a lot of demand from Web3 because when you have any user-based incentive, not just capital-based incentive, you need to protect against Sybil attacks because we have the whole industry of botnets, the whole industry of people using dApps, like 50 dApps on one PC at the same time. And basically, usually the rewards go in the token, whether it's a first airdrop or an ongoing incentive, it all decreases the token price in the end because that's what farmers do. They get the tokens, they sell them right away. They're not part of your community. They go away to do anything else. So in crypto, we have a lot of applications. One person, one NFT mint is the one that's being developed. GameFi, they have a lot of users and they usually have rewards for the users, for the players. And it's all get dumped by the Sybil accounts, by the guys who run thousands of accounts. Instead of giving the reward to real people get 10 times less. So in order to understand the scale, we worked with a few big airdrops, and the number of people who eventually were able to pass the biometric verification was from, well, 25% was the biggest one. It was out of more than 200 people, basically more than out of almost a million people. Yeah, 200, over 200,000 were verified biometrically. The others couldn't. But sometimes it's just 5% who can go through this because the rest were really multi accounts and bots.
For sure.
In the real world, though, we just saw an awesome use case. We didn't announce it yet, but the idea was cool. The guys who integrated our tech are using us for freemium, but biometrically gated freemium. So in order to get the trial or a free version of a product, you have to verify that you're not abusing the system by using a lot of free versions from different accounts. You can only use once. Yeah, it's an awesome use case, new one. I think we never thought about that ourselves, but There is a lot more to it. Biometrics are used in dating, and you understand probably why, like in Tinder and such apps. They all need it if we're talking about real world. I mean, I can talk about it for hours. Applications are really endless.
Yeah, no, for sure. You've also argued for a new model of DAO governance beyond tokens. Can you explain what a cognitocratic DAO looks like in practice?
We haven't built it in practice yet,
Okay.
but the idea here is, well, who do we give power to? Okay. If we are going away from proof of work and proof of stake, just giving power to the rich, like in old times, yeah, our countries are all democratic, but the blockchain, for some reason, are still in the dark ages of
Hmm.
social development, let's say like that, social structures. And our idea for the DAO is that we would like to basically have still one person, one vote, right? But every person will have a certain cognitocratic score and meritocratic score. Eventually, we inside the DAO track two things: how many and how good they were ideas you proposed. Yeah, basically proposed, accepted, and ideally executed.
Hmm.
And on the meritocratic side, it of course means how much you contributed
Yeah.
to, well, either just support the regular maintenance of the protocol and its development, or you basically executed the ideas that others proposed. And this is more like a signaling, for DAO. You still have one person, one vote. But
Yeah.
when you measure these things, people can see who can they trust more, who can they rely on more, who can they delegate their vote to, depending on their specialization, of course. Yeah.
So, what impact do you think Humanode can have on the way governance evolves across other EVM compatible ecosystems?
I do think that we pretty much don't have humanized DAOs for now. Okay, just because it's a very difficult thing to do.
Hmm.
People focus on mostly their core mechanics and just take the token weighted voting, or they take, I don't know, NFT weighted voting, which is pretty much the same thing. And they're not ready to experiment because, well, you can lose it all if you build the system in the wrong way. We are discussing how to build out the Humanode DAO, we call Vortex, well, for years already, and we still have weekly discussions on it because it is really hard to make such a system foolproof. It's not
Hmm.
just you have more money, well, the system is yours, and it's very expensive to buy out the system, but it's still possible. We call it Sybil acceptance
Mm.
because you just attack the system with the money. It's not really hard, right? You don't even need to create non-existent identities. So in our case, imagine what happens when we launch the DAO, which is pretty complicated, right? With it will be built from scratch directly into blockchain, and then you give basically money to this DAO. Of course, we will start small because we don't know how it will go, and I do think that after we pull it off, others will follow.
Mm.
It's just not the DAO is not the core product for 100, well, 99.9% of the projects, right?
Yeah.
And they don't care to experiment with something that might not work.
Yeah, for sure. Moving on to looking at NFTs then, how do NFTs fit into Humanode's identity layer? Do you envision new use cases that go beyond art and collectibles?
I mean, it already happened. So we still have art and collectibles. They still cost some money. I don't know why people say NFTs are dead. They're just not on hype among retail, but they're still there. They get traded. But NFTs evolved already. I mean, I won't say that NFTs will play a huge role in Humanoid protocol itself.
Hmm.
We're not using them for anything, to be honest. But because we are the base layer, the blockchain layer, okay. But if we were not the base layer but the smart contract layer, we might use it for something. And eventually NFTs, they became even more because people give out NFTs right and left. Okay, they give NFTs as badges, they give NFTs as like achievement points, NFTs as well, items you get in games, okay, like endless items in the games. Well, actually, there are some pretty hardcore use cases of NFTs where they don't even look like NFTs anymore. Well, for example, there is a standard ERC 1155, as far as I remember, and it is used. It is kind of created for NFTs, but it is not used for NFTs anymore. It's used for just building new stuff because the standard is cool. And yeah, NFTs is a technology. It's not about collectibles or pictures that you can buy and sell.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Could Humanode enable identity portability across DeFi and gaming ecosystems?
Yeah, that's what we do right now. So
Hmm.
we were mostly talking to our now of our like base layer we're building. Yeah. And
Mm.
like the real infra, the real change, the long term one. We're also working on consumer products ourselves. So we built integrations with Discord, Telegram, and now we're focused on the use case side, on the cross chain, basically Sybil-Resistant that lets you verify one EVM address and then bridge this verification to, well, any EVM chain that needs it. We're like integrating a chain every week on average. So yeah, we are kind of in that market as well.
You've also explored the intersection of AI and decentralized systems. Keen to understand, how do you see AI working alongside blockchain, especially in like contexts like decentralized governance or identity as well?
Well, identity at least gives us a human badge, let's say, on different platforms. I think it will be everywhere, you know. You have a human badge on Twitter, you have a human badge on Telegram, on Discord, because there will be so many spammy and not maybe spammy, interesting AI agents, which are not humans. You have to understand who you talk to.
Yeah, for sure.
And well, on the other side, I'm always thinking of what will be next. We're not yet there, and people saying that AGI is coming are just trying to sell their large language models as AGI, which is awful, but AGI is something that's much smarter than we are. They're not, it should not hallucinate every second sentence.
Hmm.
So when it comes, right, how do we actually control it? Nobody knows, but I
Yeah.
always thought that if we do have some kind of human coordination level, and on that level we could kind of send signals to AGI, and it would be much better than if a company directly controls what AGI is doing next, what's his goals, or how do we all agree to shut it down or not.
Mm. Yeah. And looking ahead then, what's next for Humanode in 2025 and beyond? Any exciting milestones or partnerships coming up?
We have like four parallel pillars we're working on, right? First of all, we started the development of the DAO we just talked about finally. I mean, we have the chain running for 2 years, but the DAO is not there. The governance is still centralized. Of course, we want to grow the number of people we have in the community and validators, but that requires ecosystem development, first of all, meaning having dApps on our chain that a lot of people use. And we are helping a few. We're helping a very cool mobile game called Catacomb Crawlers, which will go out this year. We're helping a DeSci project, well, mostly DeFi project, who are doing the prediction market, very volatile prediction market for scientific discovery. Like, will we cure cancer next year? And people bet on it in a very volatile fashion. We developed like new primitives there, let's say. And yeah, apart from, I mean, there are a few other projects, but I would highlight these two. And apart from that, of course, we are working on our cross-chain biomapper, which we just discussed, which is just stable resistance for the whole Web3 on whatever chain you are. You can verify and reuse this identity across all other chains. Just verify once, and that's it.
Nice. Well, sounds very exciting. Thank you for your time, Victor. Appreciate you, coming on and shedding a bit of light on how biometrics, DAOs, and decentralized identity, can transform the Web3 landscape. So it's a really good insight. So appreciate that. Be sure to follow Humanode and keep an eye out on their vision as it unfolds. And as always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Web3 Insights. But that's all from us today. Thanks again, Victor. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Aaron. Have a good day, man.